What if I told you that the single biggest predictor of your success isn't your talent, your IQ, or your resources? Okay, let's get right into it. Today we're diving into one simple belief that, according to psychologist Dweck, pretty much shapes our entire lives. We're talking everything from our jobs to our personal relationships. It's the secret sauce that explains why some people just light up when they face a challenge, while others, well, they just crumble.
And it all kicked off with a simple puzzle. When Dweck started her research, she was really focused on how we all cope with failure, but she immediately ran into a group of people who just shattered all her expectations, which led her right to this question. Why on earth do some people seem to not just handle failure, but actually enjoy it?
Because that's exactly what she saw. She gave a bunch of 10-year-olds some puzzles that got harder and harder, and instead of getting frustrated, one kid literally rubbed his hands together and was like, "I love a challenge." Another one looked up at her all excited and said, "I was hoping this would be informative." I mean, come on, these kids weren't from another planet. They just understood something really, really profound.
And here's the big insight. In their minds, they weren't failing at all. They figured they were learning. This is what led Dweck to realize that there are two totally different ways we look at a struggle. For one group, a setback feels like a final judgment, like a big red stamp that says, "You're not smart enough." But for the other group, it's just a signpost pointing them toward a new way to get smarter.
So, these completely different reactions aren't random. They actually stem from two very distinct belief systems, or what Dweck calls mindsets. And she says that when you enter one of these mindsets, you're basically entering a whole new world. Let's break down what these two worlds look like.
All right, first up, we've got the fixed mindset. This is the idea that your qualities, your intelligence, your personality, your artistic talent are just carved in stone. You've got a certain amount, and that's that. The story's already written. And if you believe that, it creates this constant, urgent pressure to prove yourself over and over again.
But then there's the other world, the growth mindset. This is the belief that your most basic abilities can be developed through sheer dedication and hard work. Sure, people might start out with different talents or aptitudes, but this view says your real potential is a total unknown. I mean, who knows what you could accomplish with years of passion, effort, and learning?
Now this slide right here really brings it to life. Just imagine having a truly bad day. You get a C+ on a test you studied for, you get a parking ticket, and then a friend kind of blows you off. If you're in a fixed mindset, your brain just goes into a spiral. I'm a total failure. I'm an idiot. And the actions? You might just crawl into bed or lash out. But just look at the growth mindset column. It's a completely different story. The thoughts are about problem solving. Okay, I need to try harder. Or, I wonder if my friend is okay. Setbacks aren't a verdict on who you are, they're just a to-do list.
And this isn't just about how you handle a bad day. This stuff has huge consequences when the stakes are really high. So let's take a look at how these mindsets play out in the real world, everywhere from the sports arena to the corner office.
Sports is probably the perfect laboratory for watching mindset in action. We are absolutely obsessed with the idea of the natural, right? The athlete who was just born a superstar. But what Dweck's research shows is that mindset, not just some magical raw talent, is what really separates the good from the legendary.
I mean, think about the tennis legend John McEnroe. The guy had off-the-charts talent, but he was also the poster child for the fixed mindset. Whenever things went wrong, it was never, ever his fault. He'd blame a noise in the crowd, the temperature, or in this one incredible moment, the texture of the sawdust on his hands. This is the fixed mindset in full-on self-preservation mode. The logic is, if I fail, it has to be someone else's fault because my talent itself is perfect.
Now let's flip that completely and look at Michael Jordan. People literally called him a god, but Jordan was pure growth mindset. He was famous for his insane work ethic. We all know the story about him getting cut from his high school team. He knew his talent wasn't just some gift from the heavens, it was forged in practice. When people praised him, he didn't see himself as a superior being. He saw himself as a human who just worked and stretched himself to the absolute limit.
And this dynamic is just as critical in the business world. A leader with a fixed mindset can end up with what some people call CEO disease. It's where their main goal stops being about growing the company and starts being about proving their own genius. They surround themselves with yes men and get rid of anyone who dares to question them.
You can see this play out perfectly if you compare Lee Iacocca at Chrysler with Jack Welch at GE. Iacocca pulled off this amazing turnaround, but then he became obsessed with his own celebrity. He fired his critics, stopped learning, and lost touch. Welch, on the other hand, was always hunting for honest feedback. He famously picked leaders based on their runway, their capacity to grow. He understood that GE's success wasn't about him being the smartest guy in the room. It was about fostering growth in everyone.
So after all that, you're probably asking yourself, okay, which one am I? And here's the best part, the big reveal. You're not stuck. Your mindset is not tattooed on your brain. It's something you can absolutely change. This, right here, is probably the most empowering part of Dweck's entire body of work. The whole journey starts with just being aware. Seriously, just knowing that these two mindsets exist is the first step. It lets you start catching yourself in those fixed mindset moments, when you're feeling judged by a failure, and it gives you the power to consciously choose a different response. And look, there's even a roadmap for it. Step 1, just accept that we're all a mixture of both mindsets. Nobody is 100% growth all the time. Step 2, figure out what triggers your fixed mindset. Is it when you take on a really big project, or when someone gives you criticism? Step 3, and this is a fun one, give that fixed mindset voice in your head a name. Call it Cranky Carl or whatever. It sounds silly, but it creates distance. And finally, step 4, you educate that persona. You talk back to it. When it says you're gonna fail, you can say, maybe, but I'll learn a ton along the way.
It really all boils down to this incredibly powerful little phrase. The fixed mindset is obsessed with the idea of being smart, being talented. It's a static state. But the growth mindset, it celebrates the journey. It finds all the joy and all the value in the process of becoming.
So when you start to look at the world through this lens, every single obstacle changes. It's no longer a threat to who you are. It's an opportunity. The question is no longer, am I good enough? The real question, the one that matters, is this: what challenge are you going to choose next to help you on your journey of becoming?